A little help here would be hot. The Mandalorian once again brings us back to Order 66, showing us exactly who helped Grogu escape the Jedi Temple, and amazingly enough, it's Ahmed reprising his role as Jedi Kelleran Beq, best known for his job hosting the children's game show Jedi Temple Challenge. That raises all sorts of questions about what is or isn't actually canon, something we specialize in here, and we're going to break all of that down, plus debrief our latest Mandalorian monster hunt, and mull over a question we still don't have the answer to. Is Bocatan a friend or a foe? If that wasn't enough spoilers for you, buckle up because there's lots more to come, and you know the drill. If you don't want to know what happens, now's the time to take off and keep going until you run out of gas. One of the big lingering questions of The Mandalorian is who saved Grogu from the Great Jedi Temple Massacre in Revenge of the Sith, and if you guessed Baby Yoda would be rescued by Jar Jar Binks or a children's game show host, well, you're both right from a certain point of view. The guy who saved Grogu's skin was Jedi Master Kelleran Beq, showing up in the nick of time and dual-wielding lightsabers to fight his way out of the temple and get Grogu to a cruiser and off of Coruscant completely. Now, the actor who played Kelleran Beq is Ahmed, whose most infamous role is that of Jar Jar Binks in The Phantom Menace and the rest of the prequels, but his most recent Star Wars appearance has been in Jedi Temple Challenge, the Legends of the Hidden Temple-style game show that debuted on Star Wars Kids' YouTube channel way back in 2020. Kelleran Beq acted as host/master of ceremonies, so basically Olmec's role from the old Nickelodeon show. He assigned Force trials to the young Padawan contestants, Star Wars-themed physical challenges and puzzles and obstacle courses, that kind of thing. Now, does his appearance mean that all 10 episodes of the game show are now canon in the Star Wars galaxy? Not exactly. Here's what we know. The character Kelleran Beq is very solidly canon. I mean, there he is. He's right there. That is your proof of that. Everything else in Jedi Temple Challenge is more like canon adjacent. While most Star Wars stuff since 2015 has had to color within the lines of the rebooted post-Disney canon, there are some exceptions, namely LEGO Star Wars or Star Wars Visions, for example. They're using canon characters complete with canonical backstories, but there's such noticeable departures from mainstream Star Wars that no reasonable fan should expect that stuff they introduce is canon unless otherwise noted. And Kelleran Beq's debut in The Mandalorian should be filed very firmly under otherwise noted. Anyway, Ahmed obviously played Jar Jar Binks in the prequels, but he also appeared in the Outlander nightclub scene in Attack of the Clones, where Anakin and Obi-Wan play a game of bad cop, worse cop. This character's name is Ahmed, and according to Best, Ahmed and Kelleran Beq are actually related. The jury is still out if Ahmed's companion, Daniel Faytoni, has any relationship with C-3PO.
Oh my.
Getting to see Ahmed kick some clone trooper ass, however, is long overdue redemption. If you've been frozen in carbonite since 1998, let me let you know that the Star Wars prequels didn't have the best reception among hardcore fans when they first came out, and Best was sadly subjected to some extremely cruel treatment over his performance as Jar Jar, and unfortunately, that toxicity hasn't exactly gone away.
A youngling?
Remember when the Clone Wars series came out and there were a lot of Ahsoka haters, but then everyone kind of came around on her? And then there were the prequel movies in general, which were pretty maligned up until the past few years when everyone's like, no, they've always been good. And then of course there's the still ongoing feuds about the sequel trilogy, which, they have their problems, especially that last one. Actors like Ashley Eckstein, Moses Ingram, John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, Kelly Marie Tran, and of course Ahmed took a lot of really undue and cruel harassment because they portrayed fictional characters in a space fantasy franchise that was, quote, always intended to be enjoyed by 12-year-olds, according to its creator. There are probably a few people out there who love every single shred of Star Wars anything that has ever existed, but chances are, even the most cheery and upbeat of fans can pinpoint a Star Wars something that rubbed them the wrong way. And that's okay. But Ahmed got done dirty, and it's really nice to see him getting another shot at being a part of this galaxy, and hopefully it's one that fans are okay with. Also, if you want to dig into the symbolism of it all, those guys that he's clobbering, that is canonically the 501st Legion. The 501st began as a group of fans who cosplayed as stormtroopers and various other Star Wars bad guys, and they were officially inducted into Star Wars canon in Revenge of the Sith. Not to say the 501st is evil, they're actually wonderful people and do tons and tons of charity work, and they're actually very lovely in person. I've got to interview a bunch of them, and a few lucky members even played stormtroopers in season 1 of The Mandalorian because they'd had so much practice acting like stormtroopers that they did a better job than, regular actors. That said, it's kind of poetic that we got to see the actor who played one of the most derided characters in Star Wars mopping the floor with a battalion that was named after a fan club who started out as good guys before his sudden drastic heel turn, and he's doing it all to protect Grogu, who is the wide-eyed innocent youngling who is allegedly the literal future of Star Wars, whatever that means. So Ahmed Best might be Beq with a vengeance and living his best life, but whatever happened to Jar Jar? Well, the official canon novel Aftermath Empire's End includes a scene involving a washed-up Jar Jar eking out an existence as a street performer in the city of Theed on Naboo. He's been exiled once again from Otoh Gunga after they realized that he was partially responsible for, allowing a guy named Sheev Palpatine rise to the role of Chancellor and topple the Republic and create an empire and destroy the whole Jedi Order. So, yeah, talk about bombad. Speaking of which, this episode once again shows us Order 66, specifically the attack on the Jedi Temple, from yet another point of view. Say what you want about Disney Star Wars, but this is something they're pretty good at lately, bringing us back to a crucial moment in the canon timeline and telling another story going on at the same time. Obviously, they've done this a whole bunch with Order 66 in the last handful of years. We got Order 66 scenes in Jedi Fallen Order, The Clone Wars, The Bad Batch, The Mandalorian, obviously, The Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. What we have now is a much larger picture of this traumatic event in the galaxy's history. And Kelleran Beq wasn't working alone. A small group of Jedi seemed to be fighting their way out with Grogu and fell before Beq grabbed him and got him out of there, and it doesn't seem as if there was some special priority to get Grogu out specifically. Beq and the other Jedi were just scrambling to save whoever they could in the chaos during the attack on the temple. Inquisitor Reva's Order 66 flashback back in the Obi-Wan show backs this up too. The adult Jedi were in full panic mode, just trying to save as many younglings as they could. Chances are good we're going to see more of this flashback. Like, where did Kelleran Beq actually take Grogu? Did he guard him and keep him alive through the next 30 years? There's like a whole lot of time in an entire civil war that happened between this and the moment that he gets discovered by Din Djarin and IG-11. So if we get more of this flashback, we should hopefully get more of Kelleran Beq's story too. Not to mention, any other Jedi who managed to get the hell out of Dodge. Or Coruscant, whatever. Okay, real quick break, but stick around. We are going to break down Bo-Katan's whole Mythosaur secret. Is she headed for a villain arc or a redemption arc? We'll get into that in just a second. And we're back, so let's talk Bo-Katan. Obviously, she's planning something with that Mythosaur she saw while taking a dip in the living waters beneath the mines of Mandalore. We brought this up last week. She's clearly playing this one closer to the Beskar breastplate, and she might even be unsure herself of just how she's going to use this secret, but it's clear it's on her mind. A good chunk of this episode is a monster hunt. Bo-Katan leads a bunch of Mandos to hunt down a raptor, which in this case refers to something that is directly between the dinosaur variety and the birds of prey variety. It made off with Paz Vizsla's son, who happens to be that kid during the baptism scene at the beginning of this season, who I guess got a haircut, even though he's forbidden from ever removing his helmet. Also, they make multiple passing references to how this isn't the first time this raptor has been a problem, and considering this is actually the second time that we've seen these specific Mandos have their big beach party crashed by a dinosaur, maybe post some lookouts. Just have like a lifeguard or something. Ultimately, the hunting party is successful after Bo-Katan leads the charge, winning a ton of street cred from the other Mandos in the process. During the scuffle, though, she lost a shoulder pauldron, but the armorer offers to cast her a brand new one.
Shall I inlay the signet of the Night Owl?
Would it be acceptable to wear one pauldron of the Night Owl and another with the Mythosaur?
This is all pretty interesting because the Night Owls were the group of elite Death Watch warriors that Bo-Katan ran with back in the day. So she instead chooses a Mythosaur for her signet on her new piece of armor, but the other interesting thing here is how she just tells the armorer about the Mythosaur that she saw. We thought that was going to be a secret, but I guess not. At first, the armorer takes it as a vision that Bo-Katan had, but Bo was like, no, I actually saw one for real, in the living waters, beneath the mines of Mandalore, as it was prophesied or foreseen or whatever, and the armorer just gets all philosophical about it.
But it was real.
This is the way.
That is not even remotely helpful. Whatever happened to one doesn't speak unless one knows? I guess that doesn't apply if you're being deliberately vague and mysterious or making a YouTube video where you hypothesize about things that will be revealed in coming episodes. Long story short, Bo-Katan's got Mythosaurs on the brain in a big way. And I think her move to include the signet on her new pauldron is telling. She found that Mythosaur and she intends it to build herself into a legend. Now, previously that might have seemed like a bad thing, but after this episode, watching her earn some respect among the covert, maybe this is a redemption arc for Bo-Katan. Maybe she's finding a different way to rally Mandalorian support to her cause now that she knows that Mandalore isn't poison. I think what we're seeing here is a shift in vision for Bo-Katan, where instead of this warrior princess, she's finding other ways to inspire what's left of her people. And here's the thing, that doesn't put her at odds with Din Djarin at all. He doesn't care that much about all the crazy epic struggles going on in the galaxy at any given time. He's just trying to be a good dad, watching little Grogu win paintball tournaments and being a Mandalorian and all that. If anything, I think he'd be glad to see Bo-Katan take over and believe in some of the key foundations of Mandalorian legend, like the Mythosaur. Remember, this man tried his best to just give her the Darksaber when he took it off of Moff Gideon. But the real truth is yet to be seen. Is Bocatan headed for redemption, or is she just trying to be the Star Wars galaxy's own mother of dragons that, well, that didn't work out so hot for Daenerys. I'm just gonna put that out there. Anyway, whatever Bocatan is planning, it probably does not include cleaning up after those little baby dragons. She's probably got some bigger stuff on her mind. Also worth noting, we still don't know who sent the TIE bombers and interceptors to destroy Bo-Katan's house last episode. We still think that Moff Gideon is the best bet, but lots of folks out there seem to think this is a Grand Admiral Thrawn type of flex. Either way, that question can't go unanswered for too long. What did you think of the return of Ahmed as Jedi Master Kelleran Beq? And is Bo-Katan going for her villain arc or her redemption arc? You can take all of your best theories and deposit them in the living waters beneath the mines of Mandalore. Someone will find them down there eventually. You could also just put them in the comments below. Whichever. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Canon Fodder. I'm Max Scoville, and for more on The Mandalorian, let's talk about that mythosaur and why we think it means that Din Djarin is going to rule all of Mandalore. So go check that out, and don't forget to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch. We'll see you next time. This is The Way.